If the grass rustles in the distance, our earliest ancestors survived by assuming something living was hiding inside it. Psychologists call this agency detection, a primitive instinct to spot intent and physical movement, usually to avoid a predator. As human cognition evolved, this survival instinct expanded inward. Even infant minds naturally draw a firm line between the physical world and the psychological one. It's a concept known as cognitive dualism. If a body dies, the physical form stops moving, but the mind intuitively assumes the psychological essence, the soul, must have gone somewhere else. As gray matter increased, individual minds connected into social networks. To reach communal religion, we stacked awareness to a fifth level. I understand that we both believe a deity wants us to act righteously. This created a shared moral reality. For tens of thousands of years, small tribes maintained that shared reality through group rituals. But as agriculture allowed societies to balloon into anonymous empires of millions, those intimate rituals broke down. In a city of strangers, it became incredibly easy for freeloaders to ignore the rules and drain resources without being caught. Societies that survived this transition were those that adopted a new mechanism for cooperation, the big God. By shifting surveillance from the watchful eyes of neighbors to a single omniscient deity who saw every action, these cultures enforced a universal moral code through supernatural fear, effectively keeping millions of strangers in line. This creates an evolutionary puzzle. Human survival, particularly in large groups, relied on strict obedience and rigid moral boundaries to maintain social cohesion. Yet ancient cultures across the globe universally obsessed over mythologies designed specifically to shatter those exact boundaries. You see this anomaly in the Native American tales of Wakjunkaga, or the chaotic exploits of the Chinese Monkey King. These figures embody the trickster archetype. They operate on the extreme periphery of the pantheon. They are completely amoral, frequently obscene, and exist almost entirely to subvert the established order handed down by the big gods. Our biology required the ultimate rulebook for physical survival, while our psychology simultaneously generated the ultimate rulebreakers. To understand why we built both, we have to look at what happens when belief systems work entirely too well. When early humans faced terrifying natural disasters like floods or earthquakes, they relied on narrative fallacies, inventing cause and effect stories to make sense of the unknown. An omnipotent deity could quickly fill any gap in logic and ease the anxiety of a random, chaotic universe. Over time, these functional boundaries harden. They calcify into what scholars called terminal creeds. This is the dangerous point where a religious structure stops explaining the world and becomes an ideological prison, strictly dividing society into a righteous we and an inferior they. Societies recognized this danger, so they instituted safety valves. Think of the historical fool, the court jester, or the lord of misrule crowned during medieval festivals to openly mock the king. The fool challenges the rigidity of the terminal creed, but only on the surface. Their comic rebellion operates within strictly demarcated guidelines. A jester can mock the king until the festival ends, at which point the crown returns to the monarch. The performance makes the status quo tolerable, but it does not alter it. To actually prevent ideological stagnation, a society requires a force that refuses to play within the established guidelines. It needs a mechanism capable of completely obliterating and redrawing the boundaries of reality. This is where the true trickster enters. In the alchemical tradition, this is Mercurius, an elusive, double-natured spirit of transformation that corrodes and destroys matter specifically to recreate it. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung defined the trickster as an unconscious transformative force. It is an entity capable of uniting opposing concepts, precisely because it remains free from the rigid structures of human logic. Eventually, the trickster evolved beyond mythological characters and embedded itself directly into the language of ancient spiritual texts. This animated diagram maps the logic of the Zen Koan. Take the famous riddle of Zhao Zhou's dog. A monk asks a master if a dog has Buddha nature. The master answers no, and then later, to the exact same question, answers yes. This binary decision tree is designed to deliberately short-circuit the human desire for a straightforward answer. By utilizing these linguistic paradoxes and parables, the text forces the mind to step completely outside its fixed map of the world. It is a deliberate cognitive trick that strips away convention to reveal true clarity. Humanity walked a tightrope to survive. We built the strict architectural rules of civilization to protect our physical bodies, but we risked intellectual death if we allowed those structures to trap our minds. Today, modern creators employ what scholars call trickster discourse to continue this work. Novelists like Toni Morrison actively dismantle modern terminal creeds, using narrative to strip away the false cultural and ethnic boundaries that divide society. The ancient myths, the Zen koans, the impossible parables, these are not accidental byproducts of ancient history. They are evolutionary countermeasures. They serve as cognitive disruptions, specifically engineered to force our brains past the rigid logical limits we've built for ourselves. True human freedom and lasting societal peace do not stem from absolute anarchy, nor do they come from strict obedience. They emerge from the psychological flexibility to hold order and ambiguity in the mind at the exact same time.